All right, welcome to Rapid Fire Manufacturing. Today I'm excited to have my friend Joshua Wendrickx on the show. He is the partner in TiALed Products. He's the founder of Wendrickx Solutions. He also runs a podcast called AIM Manufacturing, and he mentors at the Plug and Play Tech Center, as well as advises the Mott Community College program on their manufacturing education. So I'm excited to have you on, Joshua. As always, pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. It's been a crazy week as always, so it's always nice to find some time and talk manufacturing.
Absolutely. Are you ready to jump into some questions here?
Let's do it.
All right. So, with all your hands on experience in manufacturing and mentoring, how do you think some of these new technologies are changing the game for the next generation of workers? And how can you keep companies pushing forward with innovation while making sure that some of the teams are kind of keeping up and not being left behind?
Well, as you know, I'm a big fan of technology, building my own AI model, purchased NPUs for my own server. So it's not in any way, shape, or
Mm-hmm.
form I'm anti-technology. However, when it comes to the education in the next generation, you still got to start on the manual mill, the manual lathe, learn speeds and feeds, really start at the elementary level and then build from there because it's only going to help you. One of the biggest things I tell students that are worried about AI replacing machinist engineers and things of that nature, we're a long ways away from that. You're talking about at least 15 years. And that's even if everything goes well. So it's really hard for even an AI to recreate like listening to a part being turned or milled and just hearing the harmonics or something that wasn't picked up in the post processor. So it's really crucial to focus that just root knowledge in the manual mill lathe or just benching processes. I'm a big fan of the more you know, the more you know, the better off you are. Sorry, the coffee is not hit yet today.
No, that makes a lot of sense though. It kind of reminds me of, certain people, they don't need a guitar tuner, it's their ear. They've played long enough where they can tune it. So when you're running some of these machines, you need to be that in tune with how they run, how they sound, right?
Correct. Just like, so I played guitar a long time ago. The digital tuners are great, but the true guitarist can use the tuning forks and tune a guitar better than anything digital can. Now with the
Oh, go
advanced
ahead.
technologies such as digital twin and things of that nature, you're definitely able to create your own machining environment within the virtual space from home and things like that. I've seen that, pushed. But at the same time, in order to really get into a process and really make it the most efficient as possible, you still have to be on site, maybe not as much as you had to in the past, but there's nothing that
Hmm.
replaces being in front of something. Augmented reality is a great assistant, but it's not a replacement.
Right. Absolutely. Overtime question. So, what advice would you give to someone starting their own machine shop?
So I just went through this recently. Windrickx was going to be Windrickx Solutions, which is the manufacturing process consultancy, Windrickx Education, which is the education charity arm, if you will. I'm a big, big champion of true education, not just, reading and
Hmm.
regurgitating, but application. I've never been a fan of multiple choice tests, but if you give someone a project, I think that's a much better show of knowledge and application of said knowledge. I know that's a
Hmm.
little controversial to those in higher education, but what can I say? But widget core manufacturing was going to be the third division. So I was looking at sites, equipment, all that good stuff. And the biggest things you have to look at is don't necessarily do what everyone else is doing. If you're doing what everyone else is doing, when you're quoting, you're just racing to the bottom to win a quote. Maybe you'll win on the relationship, but it's very hard to manage and mitigate a quote situation. And even if you win, you're going to run into, okay, you got the job, great, you're making 10% margin. Is that even enough to pay yourself at the end of the day? So don't follow the status quo. Do research. What machine tool, CMM, software solution will work best for what you're trying to do? Make sure you know what's in the area, because as a one man show, You need to know who your customers are within an hour drive. You're not going to be flying, machining, engineering, and doing everything else as one person
Yeah.
starting out. So I got lucky when I started looking at this. My friend of, God, almost 10 years, Greg Jones, the founder of TiALed Products, was very blunt and said, I want in. I'm like, that's great. Long story short, I went from doing a startup to having 39 spindles, 3 CMMs, assembly, a foundry, and all those other things, which, of course, really accelerated the path to manufacturing. But don't be afraid to partner with someone. I know it's hard. You'll have the old adage where, you have multiple business partners and no one can agree and stuff like that. You'll know that before the company gets off the ground. Or if you have someone who's established that's looking for support, who, you don't necessarily want to be an employee, have the conversation. There are plenty of opportunities out there in manufacturing to either start your own prototype shop and grow, especially with today's ability. One individual it doesn't even have to be the highest degree of 5-axis, but just a good 5-axis mill with a pallet pull system, you're able to fill that up and walk away. So as long as you have the work for it, you're able to make a living. But don't be afraid to talk to someone. You say you have a friend that is looking to get out of the business. Find out why he's trying to get out of the business and have that conversation. Maybe he's just to the point he can't find good people, and maybe you can do something to become a partner and then grow the company. It's just a lot of people, especially students, when I'm
Mhm.
talking to them about this, it's incredibly interesting that they're trying to put the cart before the horse. They want to, oh, I'm going to do this, this, this. Well, how are you going to do it? Just take a step back, think of the plan, and then anytime you come up with some sort of adversity or roadblock, you're not a failure unless you unless you stop trying. So I'm
Mhm.
a so you really want to push the narrative of having the plan, executing the plan, but don't let roadblocks and adversity get in the way of the final objective.
I like that's really powerful. Now, when you were starting off, did you have other machine shop owners that you were in contact with that you could ask them questions like, "Hey, I'm thinking about, you know, getting this new machine," and maybe they would give you some advice on whether or not, "Hey, maybe that's not the best decision. Maybe try this machine instead." Like
Yes.
kind of keeping a close circle of people that could kind of guide you throughout your journey.
Yes. So, for example, my background coming from the CapEx side of things, DMG Mori, Sodic, and then even more niche technologies such as centerless grinding and electrochemical grinding. I've always known what's out there, but I've also had exposure to companies not only around the USA, but around the world, you know, having these conversations, which gives, just a wealth of knowledge. That's one thing, Winter Solutions does. Instead of trying to figure it out, having like 100 different providers, narrow it down to the top three. Here's the pros and cons. Here's the payback period. And then which one would you like to go forward? So for someone who doesn't have that experience, the biggest thing is to find someone who's incredibly technical and have those conversations. Join a manufacturers association. For a one-man shop, it's a negligible cost, and the people that are there, talk to them because you're going to talk to everyone from a president to chief of operations, plant manager, director of engineering, or even high-level machinist. So don't be afraid to get out there, network, and have the conversation. It's a little daunting for some people because you feel like you're annoying them and things like that. Like I used to tell people, I'm a terrible salesman. I just have a passion for doing the right thing and trying to provide the best product. But at the same time, walking up to someone you don't know, I'm sure, you've experienced this as well. You just
Hmm.
gotta realize that don't try to sell them. Be incredibly genuine, and you'll probably get some knowledge from
Hmm.
that. I try to do what others did for me, with sharing of that knowledge as well. I talked to a lot of shops over the years. A lot of knowledge was shared with me, and I tried to share that to the next generation. I wish I had more hours in the day, but however, just keep pressing forward and a copious amount of caffeine.
Yeah.
goes a long way.
Our, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it, Joshua. And that wraps up today's episode. Stay tuned for more insight from industry experts. And as always, check out Joshua's LinkedIn page and reach out to him if you have any questions. So, all right. Thanks so much.